These individuals will be resettled across the country, just like generations of newcomers throughout our history. They will have the opportunity to enrich the fabric of our nation, and I would ask all Americans to welcome them.
We are an immigrant nation. We say that, but people act like they don't believe it. We are an immigrant nation, and that is our strength.
There are those of us who will fight for you and your rights every day. My message to them is do not live in fear.
An ADOS dude, there was an ADOS dude named Bill something, Bill the Icon.
Bring up all the dirty laundry.
So I recently posted a story here on my channel in which I highlighted Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser, who you're going to see here from a clip back in 2016 or 17, I believe. I believe this was right after Donald Trump became the 45th president. And she had an open forum in which she discussed many issues with her constituents, concerns regarding the upcoming inauguration, concerns about policing and law enforcement. And in this clip, Muriel Bowser goes out of her way to let everyone know that Washington, D.C. is a sanctuary city. On several occasions, Mayor Bowser has professed her dedication to being a sanctuary city. And I'm going to let her go ahead right here and explain to you in her own words what a sanctuary city is
one of a value that we have been committed to for a number of years, and that is that we are a sanctuary city. So what does it mean? What do people understand it to mean to be a sanctuary city? What it means most directly for people's safety is that the our police department, MPD, is not an agent of the federal government. What it means is that our police are focused on protecting and serving DC residents without regard to their immigration status. So no Metropolitan Police Department officer is allowed to ask anybody what their immigration status is. If you call 911, the police will come out and help you. If you witness a crime in Washington, D.C., and you want to call the police to offer help, then they are going to provide that help. If you call 311 and you need other government assistance, you need trash picked up or alleys cleaned, or you want to report a missing light, or you need to know how your child can register in school, you call us, because nobody is going to ask you your immigration status.
So it was all good in 2017 when there was no border crisis, when border security was being enforced, when border laws were being enforced. A stark contrast to 2022. Let's take a look and see how Muriel Bowser feels once these immigrants are on her front doorstep.
So off topic, can you update us on your efforts with the migrant buses that are coming from Texas and Arkansas that we see seemingly on an increasing basis down near Union Station?
Sure. So we are very focused, and we continue to be very focused on having the federal government do its part and take the lead in addressing what we see as a growing humanitarian crisis with people who are seeking asylum, coming across the country to get to their final destinations. And we're going to continue to pursue federal involvement.
So here, Mayor Bowser sounding very inconsistent. Again, proud to be a sanctuary city. No fuss, no muss. If you're an illegal immigrant, you won't be bothered. But again, that was 2016, 17, when things were pretty placid. Again, fast forward to 2022, once these immigrants dropped off on Muriel Bowser's doorstep, at least 100 or more per day. All of a sudden, Muriel Bowser wants to declare it a humanitarian crisis, and she wants to call in the National Guard to assist with the influx of illegal immigrants, again, bolstered by Joe Biden's open border policies. And In this next clip, you're going to see Muriel Bowser respond to a question regarding the refusal of her request to have the National Guard deployed to D.C. And this is the actual first time that a D.C. mayor's request for National Guard help has been denied. And again, that brings up the point that if this is the first time that National Guard deployment was refused, then maybe Muriel Bowser never called the National Guard on her watch at all. And I don't want to even say the date, but it starts with an S and it ends with an H, and it's the first month of the year. But listen to her here.
The Defense Department has denied your request for the National Guard. Correct me if I'm wrong, is this the first time that a request by a DC mayor has been refused? And can you comment on that denial?
I believe that it is, Mark, and I just reviewed before coming here, and obviously I was more focused on the very pressing matter of the body-worn camera release. So I have had the opportunity to scan that letter. And what I see is we may send an amended request. The Department of Defense highlighted a number of, concern about the open-ended nature of our request and their ability to respond to it. So I want to give them some more specific parameters to better respond to our request.
And this is what I always tell those people who don't necessarily live near border states, who have no knowledge of what goes on as far as illegal immigration in those states, cities, and towns that are on the border, near the border. Plenty of violence to accompany the passage of illegal immigrants, the cartels moving through, enacting violence, and it's just a very unsafe situation for all involved. For those who are coming here illegally, it's unsafe, and I'm going to show a clip of some illegal immigrants in a second to kind of highlight that point. But it's also safe for those who are on this side of the border, who are here legally. And I remember speaking to a Mexican-American gentleman who was born in the States, but his parents had immigrated here in the 60s legally. And this was during the migrant caravan of 2017, I want to say. It was around 2016, 2017, right around the election time, I believe. And he asked me what I thought of the migrant caravan, but I asked him to let me know how he felt. I wanted to be sensitive to him as a Mexican American, so wanted to kind of check his temperature. And as a Mexican American, first generation born in America, the descendant of two parents who immigrated here legally, he was patently against illegal immigration. He lived in a town in Texas, again, that was very close to the border. And he expressed his concerns about drugs, weapons, and criminals crossing the border, because the only narrative we hear is usually the narrative of people coming here to work, hardworking migrants coming here for a better life. And I mean, everybody's coming here for a better life, but everybody's not coming here to get that better life in a legal way. And we've, turned a blind eye to that when it comes to political rhetoric on the left. So he was able to pretty much open my eyes and let me know that I was on the right side of history, because, again, there are many legal immigrants in the United States who frown upon illegal immigration. They came here the right way, and they have respect for the law, and they only wish for those who follow behind them to have that same respect for the law. But again, this crisis also is extending to New York City. In this next clip, just want to give a update on how the immigrant crisis is affecting Mayor Eric Adams in the city of New York, which is also a sanctuary city, which should be welcoming these immigrants with open arms. If it's good for the border states, then it should be good for these liberal Democrat sanctuary cities who are so eager to pass these type of policies when it doesn't affect them. But as we can see, when it affects them, their posture and their stance takes a 180-degree turn.
The Texas governor invited us to the border. What the Texas governor should do is invite those who were trying to find housing in his state to give them housing instead of sending them here. This is a real crisis, and I don't know why people are trying to downplay this crisis of almost 100 new arrivals a day. All of those border states that are not doing what we're doing, they need to do a better job.
So you see here now, Mayor Eric Adams is not happy about the influx of illegal immigrants descending upon New York City. And again, I thought New York City was a sanctuary state where illegal immigrants were welcomed and free to roam about, again, and procure public services, social services, employment. And they even went so far as to attempt to pass a bill that would have allowed immigrants who are just recently basically getting to the country who live in New York City to actually vote in local elections. And if that would have passed, they would have next tried that on the federal level. And I mean, the left is trying everything in their power to replace the black electorate, for one, with an influx of illegal immigrants who they're trying to groom to one day become liberal Democrats. And usually these plans never work out because Latinos do tend to vote conservatively in way larger numbers than black people. The benign neglect that we have seen under Joe Biden's administration, to me, is historic in its proportions. I mean, we say benign neglect, but I want to coin a new phrase as it pertains to the Democratic Party's ignoring of their most loyal constituency. And to me, it's malicious indifference. I mean, they're indifferent to the plight, to the needs of the black community, at least to the native black community. Some immigrant communities, you know, they fare a little differently based on lineage. And it's not, again, always about melanin. People forget to take into account that lineage piece. There's a specific set of melanated people here in the United States that are singled out for mistreatment. And those are the black peoples whose lineage trace back to chattel slavery. But that's another discussion. I want to play another clip here because the only thing I didn't hear Eric Adams do, I heard him blame the Texas governor. I heard him blame, more than likely, the Arizona governor, Doug Ducey. I have not heard Muriel Bowser or Eric Adams. I have not heard them complain to Joe Biden. I have not heard them complain to Kamala Harris. And that's what I'm waiting for, because this is a problem that was created by those two, as you saw in their own words, and you'll see again. But let's let these immigrants tell you some of their story.
Where are you coming from?
Venezuela.
Colombia. Honduras. What was it like crossing the border? What happened once you crossed?
The first border that I crossed was from Colombia to Panama. The third day, heavily armed citizens caught us. They kidnapped us for 4 days. There were a lot of kids and women who were raped. To be honest, it was very shocking. It was something I don't wish anybody else to go through. It was very hard. Even one of the people coming with us died crossing the border in Rio Bravo. It was really good because I passed through with political asylum from Mexico. We crossed the river and Border Patrol was already waiting for us. We were happily welcomed thanks to Biden, the president.
We were happily welcomed thanks to Biden, the president. We were happily welcomed thanks to Biden, the president.
What is your message to Joe Biden?
We are completely grateful for the opportunity that he has given us. Thanks for the support to all the the Venezuelans coming here.
These individuals will be resettled across the country, just like generations of newcomers throughout our history. They will have the opportunity to enrich the fabric of our nation, and I would ask all Americans to welcome them.
We are an immigrant nation. I mean, we say that, but people act like they don't believe it. We are an immigrant nation, and that is our strength.
There are those of us who will fight for you and your rights every day. My message to them is do not live in fear.
So with this video, I'm pretty much stating the obvious, unless you were under a rock, weren't listening or paying attention. During the run-up to the 2020 election, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris made no bones about the fact that they were going to be extending citizenship to those who did not actually have to even apply for it. Just open the borders and allow the hordes to descend upon the United States. And this is something, again, that I used to be indifferent to. I was once indifferent to the effects of illegal immigration, especially as it pertains to the black community. Again, because I was under this illusion, this narrative that the left continually pushes of this black-brown coalition. But it's really only effective in political rhetoric. There's no real presence of a black-brown coalition on the ground, at the grassroots level, or on the political level. There's no indication of any black-brown coalition. But my indifference changed when I saw the actual and direct effect that illegal immigration was having on my children in the realm of education. When I began to notice and realize how many resources were being dedicated to schooling the offspring of those who immigrated to this country illegally. You know, it all comes down to the bottom line. It all comes down to your pocketbook at the end of the day. I can remember when Bill Clinton said, "It's the economy, stupid," in regards to the major factor in deciding, in particular, presidential elections. It's the economy. And when you begin to feel the pinch in your own pocketbook, when you begin to look around and see that your economic outcomes have been affected negatively, then and only then will you begin to look directly for the problem. And in my situation, you know, it took for me again to realize how my children were being affected by illegal immigration. So hopefully, if you take a look at this video and you were indifferent, hopefully you'll begin to see that it does affect you, even if you can't really feel it or see it on a physical level. There are effects. There's a video here on my channel in which I speak about how immigration was actually used to derail black progress post-Civil War and post-Civil Rights Act. Whenever the United States government wanted to stifle the progress of black people, one of the methods that they used was to increase immigration. And again, if you look out through history, post-Civil War, there was a large influx of immigration from Europe, facilitated by the United States government, and post-Civil Rights Act, with the 1965 Immigration Act, there was another influx of immigrants, again, to offset black progress, to create artificially a class of people to compete directly with the descendants of slaves, and to use the descendants of slaves basically as a stepping stool. So I'm not going to hold you. This video is already long enough, but I hope you found it informative. If you did, please smash the like button on this video. Support the platform. Subscribe to the channel as well. And share this video out and any other videos you see on the channel throughout your social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever the case may be. And this is your man online, Bill Money, signing off. I'll see you on the other side.